James O'Keefe, the founder and leader of Project Veritas, has been kicked out of his own organization. Project Veritas was by many regarded as the only real journalist left in the United States, since it broke stories like the Pfizer gain-of-function research, that the Russian collusion was just a nothing burger, and how elections get honked in the United States. If they are this successful, highly regarded, and are making such huge headlines under the control of James O'Keefe, then why the hell did they kick him out? Well, this stupidity and corruption is more common than you think, and it highlights a bigger problem that I have never heard people talk about, even though it's the mechanism behind how companies get corrupted. This root of all evil is the board of directors. I'm not talking out of my ass here. I personally have to deal with this shit in my professional life. Alright, but before we get off, what the hell is a board and why is it so bad? Let's say you found a company. Your goal is to make the best video hosting platform ever and to solve the draconian censorship problems that YouTube has. You work hard for years and finally you have a prototype that kinda works. But to fully realize your dream, you need to rent servers, hire some staff to manage the site and develop it further. What do you do then? Well, you have to get an investment in exchange for a part of your business. Some rich guys tell you that they will give you $3 million in exchange for 51% of your business. So of course you get excited. With this capital, you will be able to realize your dreams. But in exchange for this, the investors want a position on the board of directors of the company. They tell you it is because they want to advise you and help you, and that every serious business has a board. Sounds good, right? The surface level reason why a board can sound reasonable is if you take their money but then you decide to put it in your own pocket and neglect the business, they would then lose it without getting any returns on their investment. So the board wants reassurance that their capital will come to good use. But in reality, it gives them the right to fire you as a CEO, depriving you of control of what you worked so hard for. And this is the actual purpose of the board. Control. When the board has 51% of your business, they can kick you out of your company for whatever reason they make up, and then they will corrupt your venture to whatever they want. Your video hosting platform with the intent of solving free speech will get transformed to whatever suits the board's agenda, and every user on your site will get shadow banned except for Lex Fridman. Yeah, you will only get recommended Lex Fridman podcasts. The problem with venture capital is that it's filled with shady characters, such as backstabbing sharks, incompetent buffoons, government spies, Zionists, and Freemasons. So having a board controlling the venture is a recipe for disaster. The sharks just want to sell out and have no morals towards who they backstab to achieve their goals. The incompetent buffoons just want to feel important and can't understand what the right decision is, so they will just vote in the way they get manipulated to. And the Freemasons' goal is to please their overlords, no matter what the cost of the company is. A key takeaway of this video is that this hodgepodge of zany wacky characters with ill-placed motives is where most of the dysfunction in the private sector comes from. Even if their intentions are good, the more chefs in the kitchen, the worse the soup. But this saying is not 100% analogous, because some boards even try to take a shit in the soup, as in the Project Veritas case. It is a structure that is set up to fail, disguised as an entity with a purpose to stop corruption. Another example of when this happened is when Steve Jobs got cucked by his board and fired as CEO from Apple, the company he co-founded. He got replaced by a guy who sold sugar water with no understanding of computer hardware. This of course ended in total disaster, and Steve Jobs eventually became the CEO again and set the foundation of the products that made them the giant they are today. So my point with this video, and for people like James O'Keefe, is to never ever give up the power of your venture to a board. They will screw you over. But what is the solution? If you have a publicly traded company, you need to have a board to comply with regulations. In that case, you have to make sure that you never lose more than 51% of your business. But unfortunately, it's seldom the case that the founder controls the majority of a company. How some entrepreneurs handle this is that they filter the information that the board receives by stretching the truth or outright lie. In this way, the board will be too misinformed to be able to screw you over. I'm not saying this is a moral thing to do, but this is what happens, since rule by board is such a dysfunctional form of governance that people need to invent workarounds in order to not go bankrupt. In the ideal case, it's way better to have the CEO, founder, or visionary as the company dictator, and have a panel of advisors to help him with decisions, but have no voting power. This is known as an advisory board. The reason that a dictator is a good thing is that if he fails, the only bad thing that will happen is that he goes out of business, and some other company with a better CEO will take their market share. It's not like a dictator for a country, where if he fails, people die. It seems like James' biggest strength as a journalist is that he doesn't speculate. But in business, you absolutely have to speculate about what schemes the board is trying to pull on you in order to be able to defend yourself. So in the rare case that James is watching this video, you need to speculate and become more prejudiced toward people you hire. If you have to invite people into your inner circle, they have to be trustworthy. Trust is a gut feeling, and I do not have the impression that James has a good judgment of character, since he invited this glowy from CNN into his operation. He should have known that the intelligence agencies have infiltrated the media through Operation Mockingbird, but still he chose to trust this guy.
Yeah, I was pretty upset with him, right? Because, I trusted him. He was a friend.
Right.
The only regret I have is that a friend of mine duped me, right? I'm like one of the most street smart people I know, and a friend of mine duped me.
Carrie duped you. That's
yeah, Carrie duped me. And it was almost like a moment of embarrassment for me that someone got me. I was more embarrassed about that than the comments that came out.
Do your gut tell you that this is a guy you can trust? Please let me know in the comments. Keep in mind that when the glowy worked at CNN, he was caught by Project Veritas on hidden camera. Psychopaths have a tendency to concoct long revenge plans, so my guess is that he had a lot to do with the schemes involved in kicking James out of Project Veritas. Or this guy, the exclusive director who was previously the managing director of Goldman Sachs. I mean, seriously, what did James expect inviting goblins like this into his organization? I would also like to add an important point, and that is that it's very easy to point your finger at the CEO of a company, blaming him for every evil the company does. But in most cases, the CEO is just the board's bitch boy, and the board is the nefarious entity behind the evil that the company puts out in the world. So keep that in mind when you're looking for people to blame. Hey, like and subscribe if you liked the video, and let me know what you think happened when the board fired James O'Keefe and why did they fire him. I would like to hear your takes.